I'm on the other end, so I'm looking to see if it goes.
Let's see. It says you're live. Hey, I think it worked.
Yeah.
I
Are we
think we
live?
are live. Hello and welcome. I am
Yay.
Elaine Canyon, sweetly writing happily ever after, one book at a time. And today we are finally live. Took us a
I do
minute.
see it on YouTube too. We're there.
Yes. We are finally here. We're finally live. I am joined today by the lovely SD Houston. Shannon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon, writing under the name of SD Houston. If you don't know me, I do have a YouTube channel under the name of SD Houston where I publish content about writing and my self-publishing journey. I'm also one third of the self-publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with Ben Peck for Money to Write and Morgan Lee. We're on an off season right now, but we will have an episode come out on May 15th where we're going to be, it's myself and another person. We've read a book and we're going to be discussing it. I'm also one half of the Authortube Writing Conference with Margaret Bernard. The Authortube Writing Conference is happening this year, June 23rd through 25th. First page submissions are open right now for the first page critique panel. It is completely anonymous. Please submit your works. We need more submissions. I think we have 3 now, I think. And we have enough room for at least 7 to 12, probably somewhere in there is what we're going to be able to get to. So please, I'll drop the link here in a little bit for those who may not have it. But Elaine is one of our speakers at the Authortube Writing Conference.
Yeah, that's part of why we're doing this is so that I can figure out all of the craziness of going live on YouTube before the Authortube Writing Conference hits. That's the hope and the goal here to get all of the kinks worked out over the next few weeks, so that way, when June hits, then we can go live and everything runs smoothly without any hitches.
Yeah, and she's using Streamlabs, which I've never been part of before. So I couldn't help her. I was like, I don't know.
We finally figured it out. I figured out what was going
She
on.
figured it out. Yeah.
I have some people really close to me that use Streamlabs for work and for other things, and so they were the ones who helped me get it set up. And then once I got everything set up, I was like, "Oh, okay, you can be here to help me, right?" And they're like, "Oh no, I can't be here to help you. Make sure it goes all right." I also
I
am
put
getting
it in the
over
chat that your tech ran
laryngitis.
away.
Yes, I'm also getting over laryngitis, so if I start
Yeah.
squeaking, I apologize.
She hasn't done it yet, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, the hope is that I'm almost all the way better, and so nothing sounds silly. Hey, Lula Reeds, nice to see ya. Let's see here. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, everybody is here that I think will be here for the first little bit. We've got Rachel Adams and Musical Maddie and JK Lambo and Mama Maggie. Let's see. And Emma's here. So thank y'all so much for stopping in. And I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to be working on editing. I've got a reader magnet that I'm just about through the edits, and hopefully it'll be able to be out this summer.
Yay.
What are you working on today?
I am formatting all of my document into a print book format because I need to know how big my book cover needs to be because I hired a cover designer yesterday. So I
Oh,
need to
fun.
get the dimensions to him.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm almost done with that. I started it yesterday. So
Awesome. All right. Let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. We have a screen.
yay.
All right. We will get started on this first sprint in 3, 2, 1. And that is time. Get that reset there. And you can hear that the longer I go without talking, the more the laryngitis comes back.
Oh, no.
Just a sec here. That's better. We'll remember to cough next time. Awesome. How did you do, Shannon?
Well, so I got all my chapters transferred over to my print book. I did that, finished that up on my stream. And when I fixed the table of contents, and then I was going to go through and look at my chapter headings and see if I want to keep the font that was there. And then I kept thinking, I think my text is too big, is what I was thinking. So I print it before in 6x9, but I knew that for the fantasy romance, I wanted to do 5x8 because this is what I see the most with it. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there counting character spaces and then counting mine, and mine is like way big. So I thought I took it down to 10 point, which matched the book that I'm looking at, but I thought 10 point seems small. So then I did research on what's the best like size for a 5x8 book. What's the best print size or the font size? And then I got into different types of fonts, especially like, because I did Times New Roman for my YA fantasy, and I was using Times New Roman font for this. I'm okay with that. But then I was reading how, like, if I'm writing like by a certain genre, you should use like a certain type of font. So like a romantic genre, you want a more romantic type font. And I'm like, oh, well, what's a romantic type font? So I was researching that. And so I was going down the research hole.
Yes, I will agree that matching your font to your genre is a good idea. I always caution people on choose readability and legibility over everything else because it can get really tempting to be like, oh, this is super pretty and I like this and it feels like it would match really well. And then you get it in there and there's no legibility or there's no readability, and you end up with a book that people put down simply not because the story's bad, but because they can't get through it.
And so I like Times New Roman because I can read that really well. It's one of the easiest fonts for me to read.
Yeah. Well, and Times New Roman is awesome just because it is one of the most legible and readable fonts in existence. That's why it's the default font for so many things.
So maybe I should just keep it Times New Roman.
I mean, I would do, like, if you wanted to lean into the romance, I would lean in for like your chapters and making your chapters a separate font and making it pretty, making the things that aren't body copy, and body copy is just what's in like the paragraphs. If it's not body copy, then I would lean a little bit heavier into, oh, I can make this pretty. But yeah, if it's body copy, our rule of thumb in graphic design is, can you read it? Like, if you can't read it, then it doesn't matter how fitting it is, we get rid of it.
So in that case, I probably need to hold off to see what my font's going to be for my cover, because I might be able to use that for my chapter headings too.
Yeah, that would be a really good idea, because then it keeps that continuity all the way through, and it starts to brand your book a little bit that way too.
I just don't know what I'm going to be using yet, because the person I hired to do my cover, he only does the illustration. So I'm like, I don't feel like I can really do my title. Like, I titled my books, the ones I've done, because I made those. But looking at the fantasy romance genre, and this is kind of true for a lot of fantasy now too, is that they have those like extra embellishments, like a starburst light behind one of the letters. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So do I hire someone that's more money, or do I try to find the time to teach myself how to do it? So
which do you want to invest in?
Yeah. I'm trying to save money on this one, on this set. So I'm $4,000 in debt on my first series.
Yeah, that'll that definitely pushes the desire to save more on the second series.
Yeah.
Awesome. I got through the first third of editing this scene. I got through all the character edits.
How long is the scene?
The scene's only 64 words. So it's one of my shorter scenes, but it's nice to be through the character side, because that's usually the side that takes me the longest to do. Because my rough drafts are, from what I understand, quite a bit like yours, where it's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of people talking to each other as they work through this plot. And so there's a lot of interiority that has to be added, and a lot that is very much a... wait a minute, why are they doing this kind of thing? Like, what's the character motivation here? Because they can't just sit and talk.
I'm the same way. I do dialogue and then I have to layer in the other stuff later.
Yeah, exactly. See. Oh, good job, Musical Maggie. She got a good portion of her closet packed.
Nice.
Next sprint, I'm going to figure out how to get all of this stuff up on the screen. But right now, we're just grateful that it's live and it's working. Yeah, Rachel
Rachel's
definitely
secretary.
gets. I agree. If it's too fancy and you can't read it, then you set it down and it's gone. And it's sad because sometimes it's a good book.
I don't think I've ever run into a book like that before.
I have a couple of times. It's only happened twice, and it. I don't think most people do put their books out in really crazy fonts, but I have found like one or two books that I was like, "What in the world did you do?" And who told you this was a good idea?
Probably giving self-publishers a bad name.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, there's no way a professional would have let this through.
I now that I think of it, I think there was one. I did read it though, but there was back in 2018. I met one of the first self-published authors I knew that wasn't my girlfriend from college, and yeah, and his font was like really weird, and he did everything himself. I remember that, and I thought, well, I'll just read it. But I remember thinking, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's like and it's sad because it's really not hard to gain that kind of information, but you do have to know to look for it. So the information's out there, but if you don't know what you're looking for, then it's really hard to find. Let's see. Oh, and then I wanted to as well drop this in the chat. So I have a person that I work with. Her name is Catherine McClatchy, and she just started her YouTube channel. And she
Oh,
is a
nice.
marketing and social media expert. She's also an author. She writes cozy fantasy, or not fantasy, cozy mystery. I'm sorry, she writes cozy
Oh,
mysteries. And
I was like, cozy fancy.
she's working on a fantasy right now. That's why I got cozy fantasy in there. But she'll be live today at, let's see, 2 p.m., an hour ahead of me. So it'll be 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and noon Pacific. There we go. If you're outside of the US, I'm sorry, I can't do it. But
Yeah.
those times today, she's going to be live, or she's got a video premiere, I'm not sure which one, where she's going to be talking about email marketing and
Oh,
how
okay.
to get your newsletters set up in the different kinds of newsletters there are, and how to arrange it in a way that works best for authors. So I think I love her podcast. She has a podcast as well that she does. It's called The Authorpreneurs Unleashed. And she is a hoot to listen to. She's super fun, but she also has some really excellent information that has helped me immensely. So if you're
Okay.
interested, go drop her a subscribe and go watch her today.
I think that's 2 o'clock my time. If I did it right, I'll still be home.
Yes, 2 o'clock your time. I had to look it
Okay.
up. But yes, if it's
Yeah.
1 p.m. my time, then it's 2 p.m. your time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Awesome. Oh, Mama Maggie got 87 red words. I'm guessing that means that those are words she took out. I'm not sure what red words means.
Oh no, when she does like writing sprints, she'll start in one color, and the next sprint she'll start in another color, and next sprint another
Oh,
color.
super cool. I love that.
I
That's
don't know if
awesome.
that's what she's meaning, but that's what I'm guessing.
That's fantastic. Very cool. I will have
I
to
remember
share that
she
with
had said
someone.
that during our interview with her last year, and I was like, I think it was during an interview, and I was like, that's like a rainbow draft.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd look awesome. I am a big fan of color, which is probably why I went into graphic design. Color is awesome. See, printed Chiller font. Oh, Mama Maggie, I can't believe you made it
Mm-mm,
even partially
mm-mm,
through that. Chiller font is terrible.
mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. It serves one purpose and one purpose only. It is a font for big letters that need to be the title of something or grab your attention, and they should usually only be one word. It's like if I see chiller in
Agreed.
more than about 3 words, I'm like, you made a mistake. Go fix it.
I think that's the font I use for like one word here or there in my YouTube shorts that are for writing prompts. So like especially if it's like the writing prompt is like has to include death or murder or mystery or something, I'll use
That
that for
makes
like one of
sense.
the key words.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Doing it for that makes a lot of sense. My drafts look like a unicorn vomited on it. Mama.
I I do remember her saying that before.
That's fantastic, Mama Maggie. I love it. I'm a big fan. I might try that next time. When I get into my next draft, I might go through and be like, all right, every time I sprint, I get to change colors. That might be more motivation.
Motivation use next color. I like using blue, but it's still hard for me to use too many other colors. I like to. I like the idea of it, but I was in the military for 7 years, and my husband was in for 20 plus years. And the only color you're allowed to write with in the military is black.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm gonna do blue though, because I love blue. It's my favorite color. So I did get into blue, but my husband, he still shakes his head. He's not even in the military anymore. He's like, nope, can't do it. Don't give me that blue pen. Give me a black one.
I love it. My dad is not quite that bad after 22 years in the Air Force, but he's still like, if he's buying pens, he buys black.
Yeah.
If you can hand him a blue pen, he'll use it. But if he's buying pens, he'll buy black. I'm with you though, Mama Maggie, because right now I'm doing the whole scene
Oh, look
editing
at that.
on
Lots of
paper,
color.
and yeah, so every scene gets a different color, and then I go through,
That's cool.
and each part gets a different color for it too. And there's no rhyme or reason to the colors. It's this looks pretty right now, and this is what I'm grabbing.
I did for the second book in my series. I was having trouble keeping the storylines straight in the timeline because they were jumping from the other world to the mortal world, and time was different. So I was trying to keep. So what I did is I ended up pulling out all the scenes, and I had 4 points of view. So I just got 4 different colored note cards. That was as far as I went with different colors, and each note color. No, each color stood for one of the 4 point of view. So if it was blue, then I knew it was this person. If it was pink, I knew it was this person.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
And it was like a good visual too, because when I put all the scenes in order as a stack, I could see if anybody's point of view was like multiple times before it went to someone else.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Well, that's a good point, Mama Maggie. You can, yeah, it's a good visual to show you. She says it helps you track how many words you're getting each sprint and what you write more proficiently. I'm very big
Mhm.
on tracking sprint efficiency. That's a good thing to be big on. I need to be better about that. I get into a sprint,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I'm just working.
it's hard. If you're handwriting, it's hard, right, to count it all up right then, and it stops your flow if you're trying
Yeah,
to count up all your words. It stops your flow before you get into the next set. So yeah, it's a good way to go back and figure out where you left off.
definitely. Well, and I tend to do all of my like my editing I'll do by hand, and I'm not sure why that makes sense in my head, but my writing I can't write by hand. I don't know what it is about it, but it just drives me nuts. I can't do it by hand.
I prefer to do it by hand, um, because I kind of said this in a sprint earlier this week. You might have been there for that one. I don't know. It's kind of like the same idea of like when you write something and you put it aside and then you write it again, the same thing. And
Hmm.
if you're not looking at what you previously did, other than just to refresh your memory, then you forget the bad parts of your writing and you kind of bring over the good parts. And so it was kind of the same thing for me when I would handwrite, because I would handwrite and then I'd read my chapter through and then I'd type it up.
Oh,
And then I just,
wow.
just go back and check, but I can't do it anymore. 2004, I fell. I was actually out in the desert. I stepped down on some rocks in the sand. We were out in the middle of the desert, and I stepped down on the rocks, and underneath it, I guess it was an empty spot, and the rock shifted, and I snapped my ankle, and I caught myself on my wrist.
Ow.
And yeah, I can't write for very long now without it hurting.
Yeah, I
So,
bet that's not fun. That's not fun at all.
so that was the end of that method that I used to do all the time. I was 24 then, so I was like, oh, I've done this
Oh,
done this for like 15 years, and now I had to change. But
that's too bad. That's not fun. What
yeah.
desert were you in?
Say again.
What desert were you in?
Oh, it was in Kuwait.
Oh,
So
okay, very cool.
I don't know if it actually had a name. We're
Well,
out
I
in the
was
middle
just
of the desert.
curious. I knew you had said you were in the army, and so I was like, oh, was she deployed or was she at home or?
Yeah. The camp that we were at was Camp Wolf right before I got there. It burned
Okay.
down because it was all tents.
Yep.
And then we were Camp Wolverine. They built it back up again. And then while I was there, we dismantled and we moved onto an actual permanent base with buildings, because those were
Awesome.
all tents. And
Yeah.
that was Camp Doha. But where we were stationed in the desert, we were very close to Kuwait City, and we were between Camp Arif John and Camp Doha. And
Okay.
we didn't have a supply person for my unit, so and my best friend was a supply person. I used to hang out with her all the time, and she didn't get deployed with us. So my first sergeant picked me to be the supply person, so I had to do classes. So I had to run between all the different camps to go get all of our supplies.
Oh, wow.
It was fun though, because I would always stop in Kuwait City and go hang out and explore.
Yeah, definitely.
So
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, cool. Well, we've got time for one more sprint and a wrap
Okay.
up, and I think we'll be good to go.
Alrighty.
We'll go.
Are we going?
And that is time. Let's see here. I might have lost Shannon in this. Let's get rid of that place card here. There we go. So hopefully we will see her come back here in a minute. And if not, then I might have had something go very wrong. But I want to thank y'all for coming out today. I hope everybody had a good sprint, and I appreciate the patience as I try and work through all of the growing pains that come with learning how to do this and go live on YouTube. See, and if you liked the timer that was going, all of the timer I used is Shannon's timer, and she has so many of them, tons and tons and tons of timers. Some of them are like 3-hour timers. She has one that I really like that's fairies. So you've got 3 hours worth of her awesome skills with video editing, and I'm pretty sure she uses AI to make some of them too, the AI generators. Let's see. But Margaret says, I'm just replying to Ingram Spark. It does not spark joy. I 100% agree with that. I don't think that that sparks joy for anybody. Oh, man. Yeah, Ingram Spark definitely has some really, really bad stories, Rachel. Like I've heard a lot of good, but I've also heard a lot of headaches. Kind of like Amazon. I've heard a lot of good and a lot of headaches and a lot of nightmares. All right. Well, I think I have officially lost Shannon. I'm not sure what happened, but I think something either on my end or her end went wrong. But I want to thank y'all for coming out. We're going to end this a little bit early since there's not really time for another sprint. But thank you for coming and for hanging out, and I appreciate you being here. Go check out Shannon's channel. It's linked in the description. And then also, I'll drop this link one more time here while I'm thinking about it. This is Catherine McClatchy's YouTube channel. She'll be posting a video up today or a live today. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, about email marketing and newsletter marketing. And so if you're at all interested in learning more about that, come join us, come check her out. I think she's fantastic, has a lot of really great information to share. But all right, well, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate the encouragement, and we'll hopefully do this again soon, and I'll start working out all the kinks so that by the time the Authortube Writing Conference hits, it looks like I know what I'm doing. But thanks y'all so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day.